Hi Trinidad and Tobago, welcome to another edition of Scoreboard on Axe Television Network. You know we are on Axe every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 to 9. And it's always a pleasure to come into your homes and to bring something that's relevant to you in sports. On tonight's show, we're going to be talking Taekwondo. And I want you all to pay a very special attention to this show, especially because this young man that we are going to be talking to, he needs the help from the general public of Trinidad and Tobago because he has set his eyes on the Olympics. In our previous show, we had the opportunity to talk to two young amateur boxers who also are vying for selection on the amateur team to go to the Olympics. So the Olympics is just around the corner, so we are going to be heavily involved in bringing to you the athletes who will be vying and looking for a spot to go to this mega event. And I want to take this opportunity to introduce Edson Brady. Edson, it's a pleasure. Welcome to Axe. And Sai Padmore, this is not the first time here with us. I think you were here with us.
Yes, I've been here before.
And viewers, Edson is a medical student in his third year at the University of the West Indies. And he is also the Trinidad and Tobago Taekwondo captain. And he has also picked up a lot of accolades during his career. And we're going to discuss with him tonight his involvement in Taekwondo, when it starts, and what are some of the goals that he has set for himself as he looked towards the Olympics. Tell us a bit about Edson. Who is Edson? You know.
You did a very good job of summarizing.
No, but I feel there was a lot more. That's why I halted. You know, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm from St. Augustine. I went to Hillview College, and that's where I started doing martial arts with Black Hawks Martial Arts Academy.
That is Professor
Christopher Francis.
Francis, yes.
Yes, and that's where I realized that I was pretty good at kicking. But
so why not football?
I wasn't good at football.
Okay,
I wasn't too good at football. My dad wasn't too happy about that.
Okay.
But I realized I was really good at kicking when it came to martial arts.
Okay.
So actually, I didn't really act on it while I was in Trinidad. I didn't try to specialize then. But after I graduated from Hillview, I went to Howard University. That's where I did my bachelor's in psychology and biology. And I found out that there was a really great Taekwondo program there called Howard University Taekwondo. A lot of Olympic champions, world champions came out of there. So I started training there. And within the first week of being exposed to sport Taekwondo, I realized I was pretty good at it. And I actually told my coach then, hey, you know, I want to go to the Olympics. How exactly do I do this? And that's how I started off my journey.
So from the beginning of getting into the sport, you wanted to go to the Olympics. Yeah. Now, how was that journey from then to this present time been for you? Because we know that in anything you're doing, there are challenges, and it's supposed to be a little bit tougher for you because, I mean, you're in medical school. How did you manage to get everything going, being where you are today, and also excelling in your studies?
Okay, well, it was a pretty rough road actually. After I graduated, well, I got my black belt at Howard University Taekwondo after 4 years. And after graduating, I went to Japan for a year to teach English with the Japanese Exchange and Teaching Program. And while I was there, I was training with the Team Miblo in Kyoto, which is one of the more competitive clubs in Japan. And while I was there for that year, I actually found out my father was sick. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, so I couldn't stay and teach and train over there, so I had to come back to Trinidad. And while I was taking care of him, I wanted to continue my studies with psychology and do a PhD program, but there wasn't a clinical PhD program UE as yet. And I knew I had to stay in the country for a few years with my dad. Luckily, my friends, a lot of my friends who went to Hillview and who I was close to, they were in medical school, and they were trying to convince me, hey, you should do medical school. They thought I would be a good doctor based on my analytical skills or whatever. So they pushed me in that direction, and that's how I ended up actually going to medical school. Okay. One of my really good friends came over, and
but before that you had no intentions of...
I really was not thinking about going to medical school, honestly. And one of my really good friends, Laura Battersby, who I went to primary school with, she was really insistent on me going to medical school, and I think she downloaded the forms for me and brought them over, and eventually that's how I ended up filling out everything. And so I got in, and I did my first 3 years there trying to balance the national team, taking care of my dad, and studying, which was a pretty heavy plate to balance. But I knew that towards the end of the 3rd year, something would have had to give, because in the last 2 years of medical school, you're really on the wards, and you sometimes have up to 24-hour shifts, and there's no really time for you to do training and stuff. But it was actually at the 2013 World Championships in Puebla, Mexico, that I made the decision to take time off from school. And so a little funny story. I was on the bus heading to the venue, and I happened to be sitting down next to the doctor for the U.S. national team. And somehow the other medical talk came up, and she realized I was a student or doctor. And I told her, yeah, I'm a medical student. And when I mentioned that, she just started laughing at me. And I was like, she just burst out laughing next to me, and she's like, there's no way that you could be at World Championships trying to compete on this level while also balancing being in medical school, because, well, she was familiar with the workload because she was a doctor herself. And she was telling me the story about Stephen Lambdin, who is the heavyweight fighter for the U.S. team, and how he had gotten accepted to law school, and the U.S. national program actually gave him an ultimatum. He's like, okay, we're really happy that you got to law school.
Yeah, but you have to decide which.
You have to decide which one you're going to do. Yeah, I can either be in law school or you can be on the national team. And well, he decided that he was going to continue training with the national team and put law school on hold. And it was at that moment I was like, okay, because I look up to Stephen Lambdin. He's a really great fighter. And I was like, okay, the only way to really get myself to that level is if I focus for a period of time solely on the sport. But I mean, it is a bit easier for Stephen Lambdin to do that, because Team USA takes very good care of their athletes,
Well, like always,
They actually receive a salary to train, a pretty hefty salary too. And so I could see, it being easier for someone to dedicate themselves fully to training.
Now, you are vying to go to the Olympics. You'll be leaving tomorrow, Wednesday, for a camp in Mexico. Talking to you off camera, you are still 50% short of all what you're supposed to gather. Now, how focused, or how will you remain focused knowing that you're going to Mexico? You're not fortunate living in the States to get the salary that we spoke about. So you're going to a country not knowing how you're going to survive after your 50% have been diminished, right? How could you stay focused in a sport knowing that, okay, well, the Ministry of Sport has assisted you, but that's as far as it goes. When you're 50% finished, are you checking in your mind when that finish was your next step?
No.
Or you're going by faith?
I am going by faith, but the reality is, I know a lot of people think that athletes all around the world are really well taken care of by the powers that be, but being an athlete for so long, I know that athletes all around the world have their struggles, and to really be at the top, it's not necessarily a matter of your athletic prowess only. It also comes down to how much grit and determination you have when you face these challenges, because a lot of people give up, and that's how I've been able to really get to where I've been and get to where I am in terms of just keep going and and just keep taking those risks and trying, and eventually something does work out. Once you remain positive and keep trying, something will work out. So I mean, a lot of people might have chosen to do the safer route, which would be, okay, I don't have the total amount that I project for my trip, so I'm not going to go to the campus yet.
But that will just be delaying your training schedule, because I guess all athletes, once you set your goals or your mind on entering a tournament, there is a allotted time in which you have to put in training. If it's 6 months, and if you do 4 months, I mean, that means you're 2 months short, or you'll have to take that 2 months and put it into 4 months, and then your body-wise it might not. But let me go across the side, because I know that they are into football, football agent, but I see that they are working with you. What's your involvement, and how do you see TBL, getting involved and working and assisting Edson?
Yeah, absolutely. George, you're right. We do focus a lot more on football, but what we tend to look at is really athletes. So yes, we might have a strong lean towards football, but
is that because he was a good kicker, right?
We probably saw that and thought, hey, something special there.
Yeah.
But no, what a lot of athletes have attributes. These attributes that are common. So the determination, the drive, that that need and want to do better. So we certainly saw that in Edson, and for us he has this entrepreneurial spirit as well, which is, from our experience, so I guess supposedly here in Trinidad, it's probably rare. It's probably something we don't see a lot of. So that certainly drew us towards him. And how we want to assist him is, going back to that question you just asked, that 50%. So he's missing that 50%. We're not going to say we're going to give him that 50%, but he needs to know that there are people, sorry, we don't give him 50%, but he needs to know that there are people here who are supporting him. So,
that will give him the extra drive.
Extra drive. So he's got a wonderful group of friends, family, and supporters who have been with him from day one. So, I mean, honestly, we've only now come. He was actually only introduced us earlier this year through a friend we have in common. And at the time, we were so focused on football. I remember having the initial conversation thinking, okay, Taekwondo, all right. We do Taekwondo in Trinidad? Oh, wow, okay. But, I was just showing my ignorance. But after meeting Edson and hearing about, I suppose, his challenges and his goals, you realize that they're quite aligned with what everything else that we talk about and we see with other athletes. So we're here working and supporting him. We've been meeting with some sponsors. Not only just sponsors, but I guess we're looking at an angle where Edson can use his attributes that will complement with other businesses. So it's not a case of, hey, my name is Edson Breedy, can I have some money, please? Hey, my name is Edson Breedy, and this is what I bring to you, and this is what we can do together. So
you have a product, you need to sell that product.
So we're trying to, and we have been successful so far, so we get in there with companies to assist. So that's certainly what we're doing. So I suppose that's our part of the 50% at the moment.
What is your schedule like? I'm sure that you have put in a plan in place leading up to the Olympics, and it starts with the camp here on Wednesday. I think it's 4 months.
No, it's 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
But what's your training schedule like? Now you're out of school, so typically when you get up in the morning, what's your day like right now?
Okay, so currently, well, actually, just to correct you, you said something about my plan starting with this 3-month camp. My plan for Olympic training started years ago.
Okay, but yes. Since when you told the guy how to get it,
So I mean,
my apologies.
Because I mean, it's been years of training, trying to get myself to that level, But currently, I guess I'd be considered off season right now, and that still means training just 2 sessions a day, 6 days a week. And
what's your training entail? What you do? They run, you know.
So one of my training sessions a day is with a sport company at the Elite Development and Performance Unit at Hasely Crawford Stadium. So three of the sessions a week are strength and conditioning, and the other 2 are conditioning, more cardiovascular conditioning.
Okay.
So I do that with Orlando Griffith. He's the strength and conditioning coach there. There's actually a full team of people there that cater to the needs of athletes. So there's a massage therapist, there's a new physiotherapist there as well, and a sports psychologist. So they try to do a 360 approach to developing the athlete. So I have 1 session a day with them, which would usually be lifting and correcting deficiencies. And then I'll have a technical session in the evening with the National Taekwondo team, which will be more technical, sparring, strategic work.
Do you think that Taekwondo in Trinidad and Tobago is at the point where it's a more popular sport, or is not as popular as what you would want it to be? Because I mean, I for one, you know, didn't know much about you and what you have been doing so far. So I may be just one of the many who might not know, you know, much about Taekwondo. Yes, I did a couple of interviews with Master John, right? But you don't really hear much about Taekwondo like you will hear with track and field or football or cricket or those other sports.
Okay, definitely want to talk about that. So, no, Taekwondo is not as popular in Trinidad.
Even martial arts, even the actual martial arts, because you know you hear about martial arts, you know, a bit more.
Okay, well I'll just focus on Taekwondo now because that's what I'm deeply in, right? I feel like Taekwondo should be a lot more popular because it's a very exciting sport. And it's short and fast. The fights are short and fast paced, and they have a lot of really athletic, beautiful movements involved in Taekwondo. And that's one of the things I want to change, and to greater expose Taekwondo. One of the things that I'm doing is actually having a sparring clinic once a month. The first one was on November 21st. The next one's going to be on January 9th. It's going to be at Gene Pear Complex from 10 to 3. It's open to the public for us as patrons, but participants need to be green belt level or above. And basically, all the participants are people who do Taekwondo from around the country, and they get to spar with each other and get a lot of fights in, because that's one of the deficiencies with Taekwondo right now. And I feel like in doing that, people can see really how exciting it is. And if you're interested more in Taekwondo, you could actually get into contact with all the heads of schools who will be at the event and find a club that you might be interested in joining. But it's a really good opportunity for people who want to learn more about the sport to go to the event January 9th, Gene Pear Complex, 9 to 3, and you can
free of charge.
Free of charge.
Yeah,
and you can just free of charge, and you can go see what Taekwondo is really about. It's really an exciting thing to look at.
Okay, we need to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about some of your travels, some of the competitions you have entered, because I know that you have collected a lot of gold medals. So we will go there. So viewers, this is Scoreboard here on Axe 25, and we are talking tonight Taekwondo. We'll be back shortly after the short break. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard right here on Axe Television Network. And before the break, Edson, we wanted to talk a bit about where Taekwondo have taken you, and some of your major achievements, during your career.
Okay. Well, this year has been a particularly good one. I've done a lot of traveling. A sport company of Trinidad and Tobago sponsored a 4-month camp earlier this year. So I went to Canada, trained in Toronto, then I went to Mexico for the Mexico Open, and trained at La Loma Olympic Training Facility. That was right before the World Taekwondo Open in Mexico. That's where I got gold. And then I went across to Russia for World Championships, which is one of the biggest sporting events for Taekwondo. If not the biggest, it's comparable to
when you travel by yourself with a coach? With how?
It's a bit complicated, but my coach came to the World Championship. Well, no, actually, he wasn't able to make it to the World Championship because of visa issues, some travel issues. But so for most of the tournaments, my coach is able to come with me, though.
Okay.
And other members of the team as well.
Okay. Now, what are some of the assistance from the Taekwondo Association is being given to you in order to get you to that, major goal that you have set going to the Olympics? What sort of support the association has been giving you?
Right now, the Taekwondo Association has been helpful in terms of trying to organize camps for me. They haven't really been able to give that much financially, but they try to assist me in getting in contact with sponsors and facilitating me getting assistance from the Ministry of Sport and the Olympic Committee.
It's I know that you said you have come on board and you're trying to assist here, but how difficult it is, especially in the way now the recession or whatever they call it has been branded about the country now. Is it making your job a bit more difficult now to get that extra sort of assistance here for Edson?
Well, what is done? Well, asking or getting financing is always going to be difficult. But what is done is, I think people talk a lot about, we're in a recession, oil price dropping. What it's doing for us is we bring in a different product. We bring in something different. One of the things that we do, George, is we work with athletes. We talk a lot about sport and education. One of the greatest assets we have in Trinidad and Tobago, and it sounds so cliche, but our people. We have a lot of talented people. It's being just one of them. And if we are able to show companies the attributes and the qualities that he has, and what he could bring to them, it's definitely important and will be to his benefit. And companies, there is money out there. There is money out there. And I think people really want value, or companies want value for money. And I think, I know Edson represents that. So yes, it is difficult, but it's really part of our role. We don't expect things to be easy, and it's for us really to look and find ways to convince companies.
In sports, we have seen it so often that corporate Trinidad and Tobago only comes on board
when you're famous.
When you get famous,
yeah.
Right? During the athlete's struggle, no one comes to assist. But from the time when you become the first doctor to win a gold medal in Taekwondo, the entire Trinidad and Tobago will be on your back. I hope you have strong shoulders, because the entire country will want to come on your back. But do you think it's fair to the athlete? Because now is when you need help. I mean, you don't really need help when you win the gold medal, because you already win a gold medal, right? But getting to the gold medal is where you need that support. But do you think that it's fair to the athletes, the way how we operate?
No, I don't think it's fair. But at the same time, I don't think we have many examples to convince corporate Trinidad and convince people that, hey, this is worth the risk. And effectively, it is the risk. So it really is up to Edson, a lot of other athletes out there who are doing great things. And like I said, the support network is important. It's really up to all of us to come together, highlight what athletes like Edson can do, so that corporate Trinidad could sit up and say, hey, you know what, I like how this is looking. This sounds interesting. This could be a good look for us. This works exactly with what we offer. So I do think it's certainly is a challenge, It's not fair, but if life were fair, everybody would be happy and everybody be rich. But that's not the case.
You mentioned it being unfair, and as I say, it is unfair that that athletes aren't just given money, large sums of money by the government or private entities. But I feel as though
because remember, when you give this money, it's a tax break for you, so it's not that you're losing anything,
But besides that, I feel that athletes should, one, start changing their mindset in Trinidad to not approach companies and the ministry as, hey, I just need this money. Please give me this money, and try to create value for themselves, because I feel like there is a lot of untapped value in being an athlete, because the reality is, being an athlete, especially if you're on the national level, you have a following, you have a support system of family and friends who buy into you, and that has power behind it. And becoming associated with a company or a brand, that will create that's valuable for a company. So I don't think companies also should think about it as, okay, this is a handout of money that I'm giving away to athlete X. It's really an investment into themselves in terms of broadening their brand's reach into Trinidad and Tobago. And I feel like especially the local brands that have invested in me, specifically Rapworks and Body Glow, people have associated themselves with, hey, you are helping a local athlete try to get to where he's trying to get. And there's value there. It's not them giving away something. And athletes need to, I think, especially if they're getting problems to go through the traditional routes, they need to find ways to make it happen or end up giving up.
I think, George, what is important, Edson's highlighted two companies, Rapworks and Body Glow. Now, we aren't talking multi-million-dollar companies.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet, absolutely, not today. But, we're talking about, let's say, medium-sized companies, small to medium-sized companies who are looking at Edson, the product, and looking at their product and seeing the similarities and saying, hey, this could improve, this could help my brand, and we're helping each other. So it's not a case of just looking to, for example, you have SM Jalil and Oasis and George Bowell. It's not also a case of that. There are opportunities for small and medium-sized businesses out there who can benefit from this as well. So part of, and exactly what Edson is saying, is that athletes themselves, along with their own brand, their family, their friends, their management teams, come together and show these companies there's potential earning here for you as well.
And I think it's an opportunity for athletes to learn to PR themselves. For far too long, I mean, I'm not knocking anybody, but you see sometimes our athletes, the way they care about themselves, the way they speak, when you see them in the public, they are not an image that, will say, okay, that's one of our Trinidad and Tobago, athletes. Sure. And I think what you're saying makes sense. Now, people are seeing you here. You sit down, everything seems okay with you. You already have 50%. You're only lacking another 50%. And everything seems to be okay. But I am sure that along your journey, there were times when you felt, I wonder if I should really continue with this sport or stick to my medical, and there are times when you felt like giving up. Were there any times like that? Like, not really giving up to say, but your shoulders would have dropped, when maybe, a door closed somewhere, because we all go through things in life where, we might not think solely about giving up, but it's a day where I get up and another day.
I understand what you're trying to describe, and there have been lots of rough situations, lots of losses, lots of times where sponsors didn't come through, and lots of tough situations have come up. But I realized a long time ago, before I even started Taekwondo, I think my father was able to instill this in me. It's you just have to you can't embrace any of that negative energy. And if there's a goal that you're really passionate about, and an obstacle comes up, you just have to start looking for a solution. You can't wallow in that despair of the situation, because that negative energy is just going to decrease your energy and decrease your will to find a solution. So I just try to put situations behind me as soon as they happen and start looking for a solution.
Now, the reason why I asked you that question is that because, as I said in the previous show I did, I was talking amateur boxing. And one of our young boxers who picked up bronze at the Commonwealth Games,
Yes.
he seems to be going through some, difficulties, well, we have to say difficulties in his own way, because he didn't make the team to go to the last tournament in Guyana. And he happens to be one of the brighter prospects in amateur boxing, and it appears that he's just falling away by the roadside. So, maybe he faced some little difficulty and doesn't know how to handle it. That's the reason why I asked, and I hope that, he might be lucky to be looking at this particular interview and know that, in life, nothing comes easy. There are challenges, but as you have to shake. If you have set a goal and you're really working towards that goal, you're going to shake off whatever it is and you're going to go forward. And I really hope that he really, shake off whatever it is and gets going. Now, you have been selected on the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee People's Choice Award, right? Tell us about that.
Okay, well, this is the first year, I believe, that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee has started this initiative. The People's Choice Award for their award ceremony, their yearly award ceremony. I think it's going to be in December.
Yes, the 29th, Tuesday the 29th.
Tuesday 29th. I think it's a really great initiative because it gives athletes in Trinidad, an opportunity to feel like the effort and energy that they're putting into their sport is appreciated by people. They get to see it, quantitatively. So I think there's a top 20 list, and and people vote to see. They just vote on, I guess, their favorite athletes. Luckily, I'm in first place right now.
Yeah, I think 629.
629. So thanks to everybody who's been voting for me.
And that's they have put you ahead of names like Keyshawn Walcott, Kellyanne Batiste, Cleopatra Borrell, so I mean, you are, above some of the well-known athletes, so, but what I think this whole thing is a good thing, because it shows the athlete that the support for you as an individual is good, right? Because it's the supporters who are doing the voting, so you can have an idea now what. You could safely say that there are over 600 people who knows about you and knows the work that you are doing, because somebody's not going to just get this one, go and vote for you, right? Just like that. They must have an idea of what you're doing, what you have accomplished and what you're trying to accomplish, right? So, you continue.
If you want to cast your vote, you can go to my Facebook fan page, Edson Breedy Taekwondo, and there'll be a link there. It's a very easy process. All you have to do is enter my name, Edson Breedy. It takes about 7 seconds, and
At the end of the day, you want to go to the Olympics, you want to win the gold medal. But at the end of the day, when you have accomplished all that what is your major accomplishment you want to get out of this sport?
Out of this sport?
Yeah.
Honestly, I have a lot of plans for the future, but one of the main plans I have is two actually. The first one really is to empower the athletes in Trinidad and Tobago, because I feel like right now athletes aren't seeing the potential that they have to generate their own support financially, especially. If athletes can change their mindset, I feel like they can generate the financial support that they need for themselves. They might be able to hit their maximum goal, but they can generate a lot more than they're doing right now. and thus be able to be more successful. That's one of the primary goals. The secondary goal is really to just to motivate people in Trinidad to be more serious about the things that they say that they're passionate about. Because I feel like one of the problems Trinidad and maybe the Caribbean is facing is people, have ideas and they have passions and they aren't doing all that they can to fulfill those dreams that they have. And when obstacles come along, they say, okay, this is stuff. A second one comes along, and after that second one is like, okay, that's it. I'm backing up shop. And I feel like, I've been exposed to people on the journey going around the world, and I see not just athletes, but people who are passionate about things, and not just about their sport, but their job or whatever. And when something comes up, I see how driven other people are. And I feel that's something I want to try to help expose more Trinidadians to, reinforcing their desire and reinforcing their will to succeed in whatever they're trying to do.
We constantly hearing about giving up, when the problems arise. And again, we go back to the one of the young boxers who won gold at the last Caribbean Championships, Aaron Hassett. He last fought in 2010, and he more or less gave up the sport because he wasn't motivated. Right? There were issues, and he went into Zumba because he said Zumba was putting money in his pocket and all kind of thing. And he came back. He went back to the amateur team to approach them as being, because he's with the Defense Force as a trainer, but he was advised by the president, I feel you have something in you, give it your last shot for the Olympics. And he went to the tournament, he won the gold medal, he won best elite boxer, and he won best overall boxer. So you see, sometimes, you give up, but you don't know what the road ahead has for you, right? Now, listening to you and seeing the associations with TBL, because I've spoken to Sai already, and I spent a lot of time with Narada, so I know the type of business TBL is and what they stand for. You being, associated with them now, what are your expectations from TBL besides getting the next 50%? Where do you see this relationship, going?
Well, so far,
Like I put you on the spot.
That's indeed. I feel the right to do. But so far, TBL has been really helpful to me in terms of working on the logistics for the plans that I'm making, and also putting me in contact with sponsors. And I'm actually not exactly sure how much more there is, how much more, because I feel like they are giving me a lot, So to say what my plans are for the future, for what Sayonara, the Brazilian can do for me, I don't know, but I hope we can continue our partnership, and that hopefully I can be successul, and that will be beneficial to both of us in the...
Well, fair enough. We can still touch a bit about the sport of Taekwondo, because as you were saying, not much is known about Taekwondo. But I know that we have to take a break, is it? Yes, we're going to take our final break, and we'll just have about 10 or 15 minutes to wrap up the show. So you'll have about 10 minutes to explain to the viewers, what Taekwondo is about. We don't want to mix up Taekwondo with the actual martial arts or things. So I will take that opportunity to explain to the viewers what Taekwondo is about, and then you can sell yourself, to the public. So we will know the face of this athlete, the face of the first ever doctor who will be bringing back the gold medal. You never know. We're going to think positive, right?
Yes, definitely.
We're going to take our final break. When we get back, we're going to be continuing our discussion here on the sport of Taekwondo. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard on Act 25. Edson, I want you to explain to the viewers what is Taekwondo.
Okay.
Right? How different is Taekwondo to karate, you know, judo? Because sometimes when somebody tell you martial arts, you feel, well, okay, all right, it's everything.
It's everything.
Right? You can't differentiate which is which. I want you to explain to the people and why the sport is so special, because you were talking to me off camera, you tell me how nice the sport is, you know. So.
Okay. Well, Taekwondo is a Korean martial art. A martial art being a combat discipline. So there are various types of martial arts from different countries, and they all have a different style of movement, a different style of striking, a different style of being offensive or defensive, right? So Taekwondo focuses mostly on kicking. It is a complete martial art, so there are strikes. You do learn grappling as well, but it's mostly, like, I would have to say 75% focused on kicking.
Okay.
It's one of the two martial arts in the Olympics. It's the only striking martial art in the Olympics. The other one is judo. So judo focuses mostly on throwing and grappling. So as I was saying, it's a kicking martial art. The way it works is it's 3 2-minute rounds at the Olympic level, and if you score a direct kick, okay, so most importantly, the way it's scored now is players wear an electric chest protector, and they also wear sensors on their, well, they wear magnets on their feet. They have these socks that have magnets on them. So when the magnets make contact with the opponent's chest protector, it goes up electronically.
Okay.
So there's it doesn't rely on somebody judging it really. So there's also a helmet that has sensors in it. So you make contact with the helmet, you get points. So if you hit the chest protector with a direct straight kick, you get 1 point. If you do a spinning kick to the chest, you get
That's what you call a roundhouse?
No, a roundhouse, contrary to popular belief, is actually the straight regular, a straight kick. It's a straight kick. It's not a spinning kick. It's not that what you're thinking of as a spinning hook kick.
Yeah.
So if you do the spinning kick to the body, that's 3 points. If you do a direct kick to the head, that's also 3 points. If you do a spinning kick to the head, that's 4 points. Yeah, so that's the breakdown of it. But because it's so short, only 3 2-minute rounds, you get a lot of action and excitement involved, you know. As opposed to other types of other combat sports like boxing, where usually there's a build-up to one event, and these two competitors are facing off against each other. At a Taekwondo tournament, you have multiple fights, so it's usually knockout style, like a football tournament bracket. So you'll get to see lots of fights. An opponent, one player will have to fight multiple people in order to win at the end of the day.
The Olympics is in August, right? Where are you presently in terms of peaking or getting ready for this challenge that faces you?
It's a bit complicated, but how I describe it is I feel that I have everything physically that I need to that I needed to develop. I really need to work more on becoming as sharp as possible for the games, because everyone who goes there is going to be
so you have already been selected?
No. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about regarding my preparation.
Yeah, your preparation.
Yeah.
Is there a tournament you have to enter to get selection to the Olympics, or how does that work?
Okay. So, well, I'll finish the first question first. Yeah, so I have to work on becoming as sharp as possible. And the way I do that is by getting to fight as many people as possible. Unfortunately, in Trinidad, it's not, as we discussed earlier, it's not a very popular sport, so there aren't that many people my size for me to constantly be sparring with. So that's why I try to go to Mexico, because it's a very popular sport in Mexico. So there are lots of players, bigger players than me, people my size for me to train with. And that's what I think I need now. Regarding the qualification process, during this week or next week is when the Trinidad and Tobago Taekwondo Association will release the names of the 2 males that will be going to the Olympic qualifying competition.
And when is that? When is that?
That qualifying tournament is March 10th, so that's what I'm going to train for. So I don't even know if I've been selected to go to that qualifier as yet.
But looking at your resume for the year, I mean, it will be a shock if if you're not selected.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are a lot of great players on the team, you know, and two of them are my seniors, so I mean, people that I look up to. But the thing is, it's really competitive. Taekwondo at the Olympic level is very competitive. For example, I heard recently from one of our judokas, Christopher George, who's describing the process for them. And I believe he said in the Pan Am region, for his weight category, there's a quota. There need to be 22 players. There need to be 22 players selected to go to the Olympics, right? And the way it is for Taekwondo is you have to be in the top 3 in the Pan Am region in order to go to the Olympics. So to make that small number, only 2 people from each country, 2 males from each country are allowed to go to the qualifier, but there are 8 weight categories. So say we had 8 fighters, all at different weights, and all of them are at the top of their game, only 2 of those players are going to be selected, despite ranking, despite whatever, to go to the qualifier. So it's pretty hard. Yeah. And it's not even like we can compete against each other because we're at different weights. So it's not that I'm better than you or you're better than me. It's more so where the association thinks they have the better chance of bringing home a medal. Yeah, so it's a bit rough. It's a bit rough.
But you're staying positive.
Yeah, always. You have to.
So when you come back from the stint in Mexico, you're going to be going into another schedule before you get into March. We just have about 6 minutes remaining. Yes, we have about 7 minutes remaining. When you come back from Mexico, what's your plans, you know, leading up to before you head out again in March for that tournament?
The plan is to celebrate my Olympic qualification for 2 days or so. And then immediately start the next batch of fundraising because I have to prepare myself for the possibility that I get back here, and even if I do qualify, I still have to go through the whole jumping through the hoops to try to get funding. So I have to prepare myself for that possibility if I do qualify. Raise funds and head out to another camp, preferably in Brazil itself or in Mexico once again.
Well, my brother, I want to really wish you all the best because it's a tough journey, you know, but you know, sometimes the toughness of the journey makes you tougher when you actually get into competition. Aside, any closing comments? Yeah,
just to say that, you know, we all wish Edson best. We know that he's been working really hard. He's been very focused and determined. And that, I would say this to all athletes out there, you know, Edson gave some really good advice, you know, perseverance, but also not to discount really, don't forget your support network. You know, there are a lot of people out there who are rooting for you, a lot of people there who want you to be successful. And, you know, just surround yourself by those people. And they will certainly support you along the way, and they will make those tough days a lot easier.
I like what he said about the athletes, you know, caring about themselves and marketing themselves, because, I mean, we really need that. Because remember, at any given day, once you're on the national team, you will be faced with a reporter or a camera in front of your face or something, and you need to be able to speak, you need to be able to conduct yourself, you know, in that manner. And I think that's a very good advice that you gave there for the athletes. Not even if you don't make the national team, but you don't know where being an athlete will lead you.
Absolutely.
You're an ambassador.
Exactly. You know who you will
yeah.
meet. And you must be able to, you know, to conduct yourself in a manner that somebody will be willing to say, okay, I can stretch my hand to you because, you know, I can work with you, right? Like how TBL and this merger came up. But I'm sure that you all just didn't say, well, okay, let's go down, because you could have taken any other athlete, because there are a lot of athletes going to the Olympics or wants to go to the Olympics, right? But Edson, we want to wish you all the best.
I want to present you with something, actually. One of my Edson Brady Taekwondo t-shirts. Yeah. A size small.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're
and again,
welcome.
we want to wish you all the best, both in your career as a Taekwondo athlete and also your medical career. You know, and I know that you will do TBL proud and you will do Trinidad and Tobago proud.
Okay. Thank you.
So again, thanks again.
That's what it is.
Well, viewers, we have come to the end of another edition of Scoreboard here on Acts 25. And remember, there's a repeat of this program on Wednesday morning at 12 in case you missed tonight's program. And we look forward to you joining us next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. right here on Acts 25 Network. Enjoy the rest of the week ahead and be safe.